Steve Barham here again with Selkirk College with the Golf Club Online Certificate Program. Wanted to talk today about market research and specifically why, as a golf club manager or a student of golf marketing, why you should certainly consider building your knowledge base in this area. Again, it's a hugely important aspect of any expert marketer's arsenal. So I wanted to talk about a few things that I hope you find interesting. First, there's a study out of Harvard, a business school there called the Wharton School of Business. They released a study some years ago that looked at the causes of business failure. And it's interesting, I'll just read here. They said that 32% of them fail due to lack of research and development. But if you look at the rest of the list, 23% fail because they were bad ideas. Well, I would suggest that research could have figured that out. A bad idea is certainly researchable. 14% fail due to uncontrolled costs. Again, research can find uncontrolled costs, hopefully before they get out of control. 13% fail because of weak marketing strategies. Again, marketing is totally researchable. 10% fail due to bad timing. Well, timing is researchable. And 8% fail due to competitive activities. Again, your competitors are researchable. So to me, virtually 100% of the business failures cited in that Harvard study could have been addressed and perhaps avoided through market research. So that's laying the case for why you should do it. Market research is sort of like Brussels sprouts. We may not like them, but they're good for you. So the purpose of the chapter for Module 3 and also the PowerPoint show is to give you the tools so that you can do market research yourself. There's no need to hire expensive consultants. It's certainly doable by mere mortals. So research lets you see around corners. And you can look at research in terms of its qualitative or quantitative aspects. Qualitative looks at the parts of research like psychographics, how people feel, their emotions. So it tends to be more subjective, where quantitative looks at numbers and hard facts. So it's more objective. So there's qualitative research, quantitative research. One looks at the touchy-feelies, if you will, of research, whereas quantitative looks at the stats and the facts and that sort of thing. So both have their places and both are very important. So what can you research? Certainly any new product or service can be researched before you launch it, and this should be done. There's no point launching something that people don't want. So by researching prospective customers, people who really are likely to buy or not buy, you can find out the success chances for any new product or service that you might be considering. You can look at ad performance. So in other words, after you've advertised, you can research how well a particular set of ads or an advertisement did or a campaign did. You can also research the media that you used. Which media performed better? Was it newspapers, radio, television, internet? So you can research ad performance and the ad media that you use. You can look at brand equity. What is your brand equity position? What's the value of your corporate name? What sort of reputation do you have? So what is the brand equity of your club? And how can you obviously improve that? You can research social trends. We talked about this in Chapter 1. But you should certainly be looking at regular contact with golfers and guests to find out what sort of trends they're seeing as important so that you can anticipate them and get ahead of the curve, because the people ahead of the curve in marketing tend to do the best. You can look at buyer receptiveness. So in other words, if you have a product or service, you can display or explain your product or service, show them what you're trying to sell them, and get their buyer receptiveness. Are they very likely to buy, somewhat likely to buy, not at all likely to buy? And of course we'll provide the different measuring scales in survey instruments that you can use to determine that. Also customer satisfaction. How does your club stack up? How does your F&B establishment stack up? Your golf shop. You can measure golfer and guest satisfaction with pretty much every aspect and every department within your club. You can also use a variety of different delivery methodologies for surveys. You can do in person, which is excellent because you can see body language. You can follow up questions. You can sort of sense when people are a bit uneasy about something. So in person is excellent. Of course, it's also time consuming and can be somewhat expensive, but it gives you very good information. Somewhat less effective but much faster is telephone. And of course with telephone you have to get them to cooperate, and it helps of course if they know you. But telephone, you don't read body language. You can't see if someone has a puzzled look on their face. So telephone's faster, still pretty good. You can use focus groups. Focus groups tend to be a small number of people, 6 to 20. Focus groups aren't obviously a valid statistical measurement if you're looking at societal responses to anything, but it can give you a small group perceptions on new products and services and lets you fine-tune them. So it has its place. Mail, I'm not a big fan of mail, snail mail this is. Typically your response rate is very low, you have to chase people, and you need more than a 50% response rate to get any kind of a valid survey. So a lot of people rely on mail because it's fast and simple, but your response rate is usually low, so you get the people at the polar ends. You get the 10% who hate something, the 10% who love it, and you miss the 80% in the middle who can't be bothered to send in a mail survey. The new thing, of course, is online surveys, and these can be very cost effective, almost free, and there's lots of instruments online. We'll be giving you some examples in the PowerPoint show and in the chapter. So basically your online instruments can be quite effective today. We'll also talk about sample size and how many people you need to actually survey to get a statistically valid result. And typically these numbers are in the 300 to 400 range, regardless of how many people. If you have a target audience of 10,000 people, you still need to talk to 300. If you've got 30 million, you probably still need to talk to 300 or 400 people. So it doesn't change much to get statistically valid sample sizes, but we'll provide you with formulas for that. So my thesis here is that market research is hugely important. We can do it, I can do it, you can do it with just a little bit of training and research and thought. And market research can help you see around those corners, as I said, make and save you a lot of money, and let you make mistakes on paper, because you don't want to make mistakes in business in the real life, or you get fairly unpopular. So time now to go to the chapter and the PowerPoint show, and I'll see you again next module.